Hi there, Teresa Santa here with iBrand Your Business. In this video, we are covering Google Calendar and how you can make it work for your business. I'll briefly cover the basics and show you how you can use Google Calendar for business or for personal use. This is a lengthy tutorial, so we have broken it into sections. Please see the video description for the table of contents. A lot of the stuff in Google Calendar is self-explanatory. Just like any other Google product and service, there are many shortcuts to accomplish the same goal. So if you find a different way how to accomplish your goal, then get down with your bad self and more power to you. Log into your Google account and go to your calendar. Let's get started with briefly going over the basics. On the left, you'll see the month with arrows to change the month. Here you can change the date range. Here you can change the view for your personal preference. Google Calendar refers to an appointment or meeting as an event. To create an event, either click the red Create button or click on the time slot where you want to book your event. If you click the time slot, a prompt will appear for you to enter the event's information. Otherwise, you'll land on the page to edit the event's details. To get more detailed and invite guests to your event, click on Edit Event. Enter the details as needed. I'm going to name my event Appointment with Yolanda. And because I clicked on the time slot, you'll see the date and time are already there, but you can edit this as needed. This is optional but a cool feature. If the event is being held at a facility that is listed in Google Maps, start typing the name of the location or business name in the Where field and a drop-down list will appear. If the drop-down list doesn't appear, just continue to type the location. Click on the location name when you find it in the drop-down list. Or you can just simply type phone appointment. Here in the calendar drop-down list, you can choose which calendar the event will be scheduled. We will be covering multiple calendars in just a moment. Here under attachments, you can attach a document from your Google Drive by clicking on the drive, or you can upload a document that was shared with you by selecting Shared with Me. If you want to upload a document from your computer, choose Upload. This is handy for attaching the agenda of a meeting for your meeting attendees to view prior to the meeting. If you are new to Google Drive, check out our video on how to use Google Drive. You can find the link to the Google Drive video in the video description under this video. If you're sharing your calendar with someone else, Google Calendar will show this time slot as busy by default. I'll be covering sharing in just a moment. Good things come to those who wait. You can also invite guests to your event while in this window. Here in the Add Guest field, enter an email to add a guest. Click the Add button, and below you'll see the list of guests that have been invited to this event. In the Guests Can section, you can allow the invitees certain controls for this event. When you are done with the details of the event, click Save. If you have invited other attendees to your event, a prompt will appear. Click on Invite External Guests to save the event. A second prompt will appear asking if you want to send an invitation to the attendees or not. Click on the desired action to schedule the event. Let me show you when you're editing your event and you have invited attendees, you'll also get a prompt asking to send an update to your attendees. Click as you like to proceed. Here is where Google Calendar shines. You can have multiple calendars for all your small business needs and set up universal sharing and notification settings for each individual calendar. This feature makes it easy to manage different aspects of your business, employees, processes, departments, etc. For example, a content calendar, managing appointment slots, managing employee meetings. You can even get creative and use Google Calendar for employee work schedules and share that schedule with them instead of printing a schedule each week. Your very own calendar, managing departments' events, and also collaborate with other businesses such as suppliers or retailers. You'll see here that Google Calendar gives you a personal calendar, birthdays tied to Google Plus account and contact list, as well as holidays for your country, all by default. Every calendar is color coordinated, and the color coordinates to the events listed in that calendar. You can have all your calendars displayed or only the ones you want to see. To hide a calendar, click on the color of the calendar. If you only want to display one calendar, click on the drop-down arrow next to the calendar you want to display and select Display Only This Calendar. To view hidden calendars again, click on the box icon to display that calendar. A clear box means the calendar is not being displayed. Before we get started with creating a calendar and sharing it, this next tip is really important for people using Google Apps for work. If you are using the free version, this does not apply to you. Google App ties into a domain name, which is considered an organization. By default, the permission settings do not allow you to option for someone outside the organization to modify a calendar. It will only allow for others to view it with hidden details. For example, the default will not allow an outside user with the email customer@gmail.com to manage a calendar within your organization. To allow a person outside your organization to manage calendars and set up their notifications for that calendar, you'll have to change the permission settings in your Google Apps domain settings. Let me show you how to do that. Go to admin.google.com and sign in as the administrator of the Google Apps domain. In your admin console, if you don't see apps, click on the More Controls bar at the bottom of the screen. A control bar will slide up from the bottom of your screen. Click Apps. Select Google Apps box and click on Calendar. Here you'll see sharing settings and general settings. The sharing settings option is for your primary calendar, which is typically your personal calendar, and the general settings option is for the secondary calendars. I only care to share my secondary calendars and not my personal, so I'm going to option to share the secondary calendars. You can option to do either or both. To share secondary calendars, select General Settings, and under External Sharing Settings for secondary calendars, select whichever applies. I'm going to choose Share All Information and allow all managing of calendars. This will allow me to select the permission setting to allow someone outside my organization to modify and manage the calendar. Click Save Changes. Please note that some of these changes can take up to 24 hours to take effect. If you need to see more on how to make changes in your sharing options, I placed the link for Google support in the description of this video. Let's go ahead and create a calendar, share it, and create some settings. Click on the drop-down box next to My Calendars and select Create New Calendar. Now you can fill out the details, name it, and add a description. The location only matters if this calendar is public, but if you wish, you can still enter a location. Select the applicable time zone. If the calendar is made public, it will be made visible to the whole wide world. Although we are not covering this, you can embed a Google Calendar on your website or blog. That's a reason to use the Share It Public option. Today, we aren't going to share this calendar to the world, only to specific recipients. In order for these specific recipients to take advantage of using Google Calendar sharing options, they must have a Google account. Depending on whether you are using a free Google account or the paid version called Google Apps for Work, your display might be different from mine. I am currently displaying Google Apps for Work, so I'll have more options available than those who have the free version. Okay, let's share this calendar. Let's say you want to schedule your employees' work schedule using Google Calendars, so it would only make sense to share this calendar with your employees for viewing purposes. First, I'll show you with Google Apps for Work under Share this calendar with others. You can simply check Share this calendar with everyone in the organization, and it'll be viewable to everyone who has an email account under the email domain. In this case, it's mediapixwd.com. For example, checking this option will make this calendar viewable to email recipients such as lisa@mediapixwd.com or sergio@mediapixwd.com, but it would not be viewable to billy@gmail.com since his email is not part of the mediapixwd.com email domain or organization. Moving on, Set the permissions according to the desired actions. Both of these permission options are only for viewing. Let's give someone a little more control over the calendar. If you want your HR manager to modify or schedule employee work schedules, you'll have to share this calendar under this section, Share with Specific People. Enter the email of the person who you want to share the calendar with. Under Permission Settings, select the option for the HR manager to make changes. I am going to select Make Changes and Manage Sharing. To add more people like another manager, click Add Person, and you can enter another email to share this calendar. If someone you work with is a contractor outside of the organization and you want them to view their schedule on this calendar, you can do so by simply typing in their Google email address. In the permission settings, select one of these two options, whichever best fits the situation. See all event details or see only busy or free and hide the details. Let's sidetrack a little to explain this feature for free Google account users. If you are using a free Google account, you won't see Share this calendar with others, but you can still share it under Share with Specific People by entering their email and selecting the appropriate permission settings. The free Google account version will only show the Make this calendar public option in this section, which again makes the calendar visible to the world. When you are ready to save the calendar, click Create Calendar. If you're in editing mode, click the Save button. For someone to set notifications for a shared calendar, they can only do so when the permission setting is anything else other than See only free or busy and hide details. For this part, I'm going to go back into the shared calendar to switch Yolanda's permission settings so she is able to set notifications for the shared calendar. Let's talk about setting notifications for your newly created calendar. Find the calendar you just created here on the left and click on the down arrow. Select Edit Notifications. Here you can select what notifications you want to receive from this calendar. Keep in mind that these notifications only apply to you and not the people who you have shared the calendar with. Every Google account holder has their own privilege to set calendar notifications as they wish. You cannot set auto notifications for them. Let's look at how the notifications are edited by the person who the calendar has been shared with. For example, if this calendar is shared with a contractor, let's use Yolanda, and she wants to receive notifications whenever her schedule has been created or modified. While logged into her own account, she would need to click on the down arrow of the calendar that has been shared with her and click on Edit Notifications. Let's review these options one by one. Yolanda can set up to receive notifications the number of minutes, days, or hours she wants before the event via a pop-up and/or an email. In this case, it's before her shift. For all day events, Yolanda can select her notifications here. This can apply to days off, vacations, or holidays. Here, she can select the notifications she wants to receive through email. She can even set up to receive a text message to notify her by configuring her mobile phone with Google, and I'll show you where this is at in a minute. For now, we are only going to set this up for email notifications. If Yolanda wants to be notified immediately when an event is created in the calendar, she can option for that here in New Events. The same notification options are available if she wants to know that something has changed in the event was canceled, or other guests have responded to the event. Under this last option here, Daily Agenda, Yolanda can option to receive a complete summary of her agenda for the day, which arrives via email every day at 5 a.m. in her current time zone. Unfortunately, although it's been requested many times before, the time the email arrives daily cannot be changed at this time in Google. Here's the link to set up your mobile phone to receive notifications via SMS. Remember that standard messaging rates apply. Once Yolanda is done with her notifications, she clicks Save to save her notifications. I'm going to switch back to the original account I was working on to set up those notifications. Setting this up is very similar to what we just went through. For example, If I was the HR manager and I don't want my email flooded every day with shift or event notifications, while in my Google account, I'd go to edit the notifications page for that calendar, and I'm only interested in receiving one email per day. So I'll select email in the section Daily Agenda. This option will send me an email with all the events scheduled for that day. Before we start talking about appointment slots, let's cover a few tips that will help speed up your experience with Google Calendars. Tip number 1. If you want to quickly add an event to your main or personal calendar, use the Quick Add option by clicking on the down arrow next to the red Create button. A text field will appear and you'll see an example below to guide you. Enter the event name, time, and date. I'm going to enter lunch with Lisa, 1 p.m. on 6/6. Click Add, and you'll see it appear on the date and time you typed into Quick Add. Tip number 2. When creating an event, it's very simple to mistake or forget to change in which calendar an event is scheduled. You can set your default calendar by simply clicking on the down arrow next to the calendar you're working on by selecting Display Only This Calendar. This will disable all the other calendars, so when you are creating your event or events, the default calendar is the one being displayed. This is also great if you only want to see the events in that calendar. Tip number 3. If you've created an event and you want to repeat several times, once every week, or an employee shift that repeats 5 times per week, you can simply enter the information once, then option for the event to repeat as many times as you would like. When creating or editing an event, click on the box next to repeat. A prompt will appear asking you how you would like to repeat the event. The display is self-explanatory, but let's say I want this event to repeat on Monday and Wednesday, and it starts on May 25th. You can set an ending date, have it end after a number of occurrences, or never end it. When you are finished, click Done, then click Save to save the changes to your event. The last tip. To duplicate an event once or twice without having to retype all the information, click on the event you wish to duplicate. In the editing mode, click on the drop-down list in the field More Actions. This box is missed quite a bit, and it's really useful. You can see that you can change the owner of the event, duplicate the event, which is what we want to do, and copy to another calendar. Select Duplicate Event and enter the new time and date. Click Save to save changes. All right, let's talk about appointment slots. This feature is only available to Google Apps for Work. If you have the free Google account and you really want to use this feature, you'll have to sign up for Google Apps for Work. You can sign up for Google Apps for Work by visiting google.com/apps. Let's move on and create another calendar called Appointments, which I have already created, so I can show you how appointment slots work. This is great for professionals like accountants, lawyers, and consultants. I'm going to edit my notifications for this calendar, so when someone schedules an appointment via appointment slots, I'm notified immediately via email. Now I'm going to create an appointment slot for my client to have the ability to choose their own appointments on May 25th. I'm back in my appointments calendar. Click where you would like the appointment slot to start. An appointment slot means a time period you would like others to set their own appointments. You'll see in just a minute how awesome this feature is. Drag the appointment to where you would like the slot to end. The editing prompt will appear. Click on this link here, Appointment Slots, and name it as you would like. I'm going to name mine Your 30-Minute Consult. Make sure you select the correct calendar. You can also specify the duration of each appointment time here or offer this as a single appointment. I'm going to leave mine as a 30-minute appointment. Next, click Edit Details. In the Where field, enter the location's address so your client can see it. I'm going to enter phone appointment since my appointments will be a phone consult. In the description field, you can enter instructions, directions to your office, or whatever you'd like. I'm going to enter, please choose your appointment time. If you want this appointment slot to repeat, select repeat and choose when you would like for your appointment slot to repeat. I'm going to repeat this on Monday and Wednesday for this week only. My occurrences will end after 2 repetitions. Click on Done. To give your clients the ability to book an appointment, they will need this link. Anyone with this URL can book an appointment as long as the recipient of the link has a Google account. Copy this link so you can email it to your client or clients. Make sure you click Save. I'm going to act as the client and sign in as a different user so you can see what this will look like for a client. I'm now signed in and I got the URL in an email. Now I'll click or paste the URL in my browser. You'll see that there aren't any appointment slots visible because the next appointment slot is out of the calendar's date range displayed. So click here to view the next available appointment slot. This is what your client will see. Notice that the available appointment slots are conveniently displayed with their calendar events. Here the client has a conflicting event, so they would choose a different time. Simply click the appointment slot you would like and a prompt will appear. Here the client can enter their name or other contact information if they want. Click Save. Now click on View or Edit in Google Calendar and it'll open up the event details. Let's see the event on their calendar. Click on the back arrow. Now you can see that the client doesn't see the appointment slots anymore. We only see the appointment they chose. Now I want to show you how this calendar will look on my calendar. So I'm going to switch back to me. I'm going to go to May 25th and I can see the appointment that was booked for a 30-minute consult from that client. I know that the client booked the appointment because I actually received the email notification that I had set up when I created the calendar. All right, everyone, that's it for this tutorial. I know it was a long one, but Google Calendars has a lot to offer and talk about. There is still more, so just fiddle around with it and you'll discover that there is a lot more to experience with Google Calendars. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and thank you for watching. See you in our next video.